So functional and non-functional. What is functional and non-functional? The testing which deals with the front end. Okay, you can say functional testing type. And what about non-functional? Non-functional means the testing does not deal with the front end, but it deals with the other parameters of the application, including performance testing, stress testing, load testing, and all comes under a non-functional testing category. Non-functional and functional. Coming to functional, again, what are the aspects we test under functional testing? Okay, functional testing. What are aspects we test under functional testing? Coming to GUI. GUI is nothing but a graphical user interface. Okay, there are few things we have to take care of while testing the graphical user interface. See, ideally, how we interact with the application. How do we interact with the application? So there are two ways to interact with the application. One is through command line interface, where we enter only text, and then computer responds back to that command. Example, say I want to create a directory here. I want to create a directory here. How to create directory means file or folder. Just go to new, and here we simply click folder. At the same time, if you want to create a folder at this location, you can also go to command prompt. This is a command prompt. Okay. So to create a folder, what we do, we simply use a make directory, new directory of 8th April. This is also another way of creating a folder. So just click enter. See, folder has been created over here. Just go and check. See, new folder has been created. That means to interact with the application, there are multiple ways. Okay, one way we can directly go to the command line, and then you can perform whatever the operation you want. Okay. Another way is actually GUI. GUI means whatever we are doing, we are using on day-to-day business or day-to-day usage, especially Windows operating system or whatever operating system which has GUI. Okay, is called as actually GUI. GUI stands for a graphical user interface. We can interact with the graphical user images rather than text. Which one is better? Which one is better? GUI is better. Are you sure? Okay. See, for your understanding, I'm going to show you one simple example. Okay. One simple example of Linux systems. How the Linux systems are connected. How the Linux systems are connected. Does the Linux system has any graphical user interface? Yes, yes, no, no, yes. Okay, see, on day-to-day business, we see so many operating systems, especially when you get into a real-time project. You might have you might experience different operating systems. Okay, for example, actually it is AWS, it's not part of our service, but I will show you. There's a one instance running here. Okay, what type of instance it is actually Linux instance. So how it looks like that I want to show. Just click okay. Just click there is some issue. It's okay. Linux instance. I'm going to create a new. See here we are going to use a Linux system. Linux system. So, Linux. So everything is related to Linux only. It is actually 30 March. So please ignore. These are actually different settings. Just refresh it.
AWS also you will teach.
I just want to show only how the operating system does not have any GUI. So this is how actually Unix systems looks like. See, do you find any GUI here? No, we don't have any GUI. Okay, please. Yeah, Indra, please stop your video. Okay. So if you want to perform any operation, we can't really go with a GUI interface and do it. So ideally, if you want to create a directory here, we also will follow the same make directory. Okay, so actually, so this is actually created directory. So if you want to see the files also like this, you can't do. See in the Windows operating system, how we are doing actually, we are navigating from one folder to another folder and going to desktop, and then we can go to another folder and can be able to see whatever is inside this. But here you can't do anything. Okay, just simply type LL. Here you can see what are the folders and files are there inside this. Like this only you can check. Okay. Similarly, when we are coming to testing part, actually, how we are going to test this kind of functions? This kind of functions can't be tested with GA. Okay? We can't really do any kind of testing with GA. Then what are the other aspects you can do? We can perform non-functional testing. Okay, application does not have any GA. Basically, we can perform a non-functional aspects of the testing. Okay, so under GA, what are the things we take care? As a tester, we check all the basic elements available in the page, and we also check all the spellings of the objects. See, for example, in an application, very simple application. So you guys tell me, as a GA tester, okay, what are the things you take care? What things you take care? What exactly you validate here? You validate each and every text in the application, starting with whether the spelling is correct or not, whether the edit field contains user enter username as a default value. This is a default value of enter username, right? So whether the password is able to mask the values which are entered. See here, what are the value we are entering is masked. Okay, and then sign in button is working. I mean, with the proper alignment and proper color is there or not. But here also we don't do any basic functional testing. Okay, GUI testing called as actually cosmetic testing. So here, these are the things we have to take care. We check all the basic elements, and we check all the spellings of the objects. We check all the alignments of the object. Check content display, okay, in our web pages, and we also check whether all the mandatory fields are highlighted or not. Okay, how can you say it's a mandatory field? See, just go to here. We don't have any registration page. We also don't have any registration page. I think in this sample application you can find the fields which are highlighted. Just click sign up. Okay, click sign up. No, here also it is not there. But ideally, the fields with star mark indicates that actually there are highlighted fields. Okay, here all are okay. Does not have any highlighted symbol like asterisk or star. So what we need to do while checking the front end, we check whether all the mandatory fields are highlighted or not. And we also check the consistency in the background color and color, font type, and a font size. Basically, The GUI testing is called as a cosmetic testing. Cosmetic testing means we check whether the colors, font size, font family, spellings, text alignment, and display on the various formats. Whether mandatory fields are highlighted or not. All these things we have to check under a GUI testing. What about usability testing? The next category of testing is usability testing. What is this usability testing? What is the usability testing in media? Usability. Usability. Usability means nothing. How user friendly
User
your
friendly it is.
super. Okay, how user friendly your application is. How do you know? How do you know that your application is user friendly or not? For example, if you take as a bank. Okay, so this is the front end, right? So how can you say that your application is user friendly? See, your application should have a help document. Help, right? So whenever you open an application, it has a lot of help document, right? Whether the application has a help document or not, that we need to check. Okay, and where the application has a tooltip. Tooltip means whenever you go to that particular element, right? We show tooltip. Just click login. Okay, just go here. There's a tooltip. See that it's showing. Please fill out this field. Okay, basically technically we call it actually tooltip, but when it comes to usability of this application, it really plays a very important role. Those who doesn't know anything about what is user, what is login ID, will get a lot of help from tooltip. Please fill out this field, okay, and password. Here also you can see here. Please fill out this field. This is a mandatory field. Look at here. Please fill out this field. Okay. Do you have any other tooltip coming here? No. What about this one? Login. Login also we are not getting anything. Unlock account. Target is ready. Okay, nothing. So this is nothing but a usability. How user friendly, how easily the end user able to understand and operate the application is called as a usability testing. Usability testing also one of the type of functional testing. Then coming to actual functional testing category, we basically check the properties of the object, and we also do database testing. That is called actually backend testing, and we also handle errors and calculation manipulations and the link existence and link execution and then cookies and sessions. These are the various type of testings comes under a functional category. Coming to object properties, how do you check? See, coming to this field, user name is there. So how do you know whether it is enabled or not? How do you know that it is enabled or not? You just click F12 function key F12. Just go to speed. So these are the various properties of this field. Here you can see this is a type is text, ID is this one, on focus is this. So check what are the other properties that they are given actually, the label, user ID, okay, invalid message. Okay. Yeah, required. Autocomplete is on focus. Okay. Here I'm not able to see anything. Let's go to travel. Go to sign up. I will check this. Right click inspect. Okay. Just look at here. Yeah. So these are the various properties you can check here. If you look at this is a required field. See? How do you know that this is a required field or not? You can come to know by looking at the developer mode of this page, where you can see this field is required. Okay. And what type of field it is actually is a telephone, because we are going to enter the number, right? That's why it is a type is telephone. Okay. So basically, we check the properties of each and every object, whether it is enabled or not, disabled or not, whether it is focused or not, does it allow text or not. Okay. So each and every property of the object needs to be validated under a object properties testing. Then input to domain testing. So this we have discussed yesterday. Input domain testing means we basically give different type of inputs and check whether the functionality is working or not. What are the techniques we follow? We follow ECP and boundary value analysis. Then coming to database testing. What exactly it does under database testing? See, as a database tester, we basically validate insertion, deletion, delete, and select commands, where we follow SQL languages like DDL, DML, and DCL, where we define a. Wait, just a second. Hello. 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 And కొంచెం పనిలో ఉన్నాను రా ఉండు మీ అక్కడ ఇస్తాను. Yo, Karthik Naina, come. Give it to your. Sorry. So DDL means what? Data definition means we are going to define the data by using create, alter, drop, and all, right? So as a database tester, we should also perform certain DDL commands like creating the table, altering the table, drop the table, and so on. Then coming to DML, data manipulation language, where we perform insertion, updation, deletion, selection, and deletion. Okay. And DCL, data commit language, where we commit it to that. Okay. So ideally, you don't perform any kind of database testing. Those who actually have special knowledge in the database, they perform a database testing. Functional testing we never perform. Then coming to error handling. So this we already discussed. What is error handling? Error means nothing actually. Whenever we have a error messages, whether this error message is correct or not, that we can validate. Okay. It's called stop it. Okay. Without entering any values, I'm simply clicking the register. See, automatically it is showing these values. So it is not even showing anything, but you can go to some other. See, from application to application, definitely the validation will differ. You can ask, sir, here we are getting error message, here we are not getting an error message. Why? The reason is the developer is supposed to define it. See, if you click sign in, see, you get error message. But here we are not getting an error message. Let's go to sign up. Let's go to travel. Try to go to sign up and then enter, directly enter a register. We are not getting an error message, but it is putting your cursor in the input field. Register doesn't. Try to click register again. Again, it is going here. That's all. So the functionality of validation is this one for this application. Okay, they have not written any error messages here, but whereas for other applications, for example, which I have taken UA Bank, where you can get the error messages. So this is a proper way of developing the application. That means developer has not taken care to enable error messages in the simply travel application. This is also a bug. Basically, is a bug basically. Okay, UA Bank has been developed properly. Here we are able to see the error messages. So this is all about validating error messages thrown by the application when we provide invalid data. Okay. So as a tester, we have to test all the error messages. As a developer, you have to define the error messages. The next category of testing is calculation manipulation testing. Okay. What is this calculation manipulation testing? Okay. If any application does, I mean, if it has so calculation manipulation testing. What is that? I'll show you one simple example of that. We are going to open Just keep flowing. So I want to add a product. This one, add product, and then I'm going to add this product. So at the end, what you have to do, you have to pay, right, the bill. So on what basis we are going to pay? We have to add both the values. If the system is giving wrong calculation, that is a bug. That is all about calculation testing. Here it is telling, right? Calculation or manipulation testing that basically validates all mathematical calculations happens in the application. Let's go to cart. See, these are the two products which we have added to the application. Soft Labs platform and then Soft Lab Bike Light. There are two products which I have added this time. Enter a custom. Any details you can enter here. Just click continue. So we have added all the details. And then finally click finish. See here, before going to finish, look at this calculation. Okay. So the total cost is 39.98 and the tax is 3.20. After adding the tax, it should be 43.98. So as a tester, we also basically perform this mathematical calculation validation, whether the data which we are seeing is actually properly validated or not. That much. Okay. So that is all about mathematical or calculation testing. Coming to non-functional testing gateway. That means apart from functionality, what else we can do? We basically test performance also. We perform non-functional testing. Under non-functional testing, one of the testing type is performance testing. Under performance testing, there are three categories. One is load, another one is stress, another one is a one. You guys tell me what is the difference among load, stress, and volume. Nothing else. If you take any application, okay, if you if you want to book a ticket, train ticket, you want to IRCTC portal, right? So now it is much better. Earlier, to book a ticket, it takes a lot of time. Maybe there is some server issue, some another network issue might be. Okay, maybe at the time you don't have 4C also. But at the time, it takes a lot of time to book a ticket through online portal. So what exactly we test under performance aspects? Under performance of the testing, we basically hit the server simultaneously with the multiple sets of virtual users. Okay, this is what actually all performance testing tools does. Performance testing tools test the application performance in a peak load. In peak load means what actually? Ideally, if you take the same example here, as you can see, when do you have a peak load on the server in a day? When do you have? In daytime, right? In daytime. So ideally till 10 or 10:30, most of the time the server is very ideal. But for suppose if there is any special occasion like Sankranti holidays, so people travel from Hyderabad to their native respective places, right? So at that time, if you try to book a ticket, server responds very slowly. Yes. Okay. So if you are not able to book like within 10 minutes of 9 minutes, automatically you'll get a session time of error. We cannot do. Okay. On top of it, you know what happened nowadays? You'll get a OTP. The OTP is valid only for 1 minute or 2 minutes sometimes. Okay. For example, you want to book a ticket. Okay. You have entered all the details, but the payment gateway is supposed to send some OTP. OTP is not getting. If you don't get a OTP, what happens? The transaction gets timed out after 3 minutes or 4 minutes. Again, you have to book a ticket from scratch, from beginning. So these are the various issues if application is not performing as per the client requirements. Okay. So there we perform a different type of testings. One is a load testing, another one is stress testing, another one is a volume testing. What is load testing? Load testing, we gradually increase the load on the server, okay, on the server and check the application performance. That means we have an application. We start with 10 users and 20 users and 50 users and 1,000 users, 2,000 users. Gradually will increase. And we check whether the application is performing as per the client requirement or not. That is all about load. Gradually we load and check the speed of the application. What is stress testing? Not only increasing the load, actually, we also, okay, decreasing the load. Suddenly we decrease the load and suddenly we increase the load. Not gradually. Suddenly we load the application with 1 lakh users. 1 lakh users simultaneously hit the server. At the same time, suddenly we reduce it to 1,000 users. Basically, we are stressing the system. Okay, and check whether application is behaving normally or not. Okay, and then coming to volume. Okay, for example, if you take a banking application, there is some functionality called okay, home loans. Only that particular part of application we are going to okay send a excessive number of requests. Then we check application behavior. So we check basically under volume how much volume of data the application can handle it. That's what actually volume testing, load testing, stress testing, and volume testing. So they would ask what's the difference among these testing in interview times. Then security testing. What is security testing? What is security testing? What is security testing? How secure your application is. Okay. So if your application is not secured enough, then automatically nobody will use your application. Okay, right? So how to check the security of the application? To check the security of the application through authentication, access, and then encryption and decryption. Authentication means, what is authentication? Authentication means what?
Password.
Authentication means yeah. So whether yeah, please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. Authentication, whether okay, system is able to allow the credentials or not, the details which are entered has been validated or not. Okay, that is all about nothing but authentication. Okay, we have a two-factor authentication, SSL. Okay, SSL authentication. We also call single sign-on authentication, multi-factor authentication. Right? These are various authentication techniques. Okay, these are basically encrypting and decrypting softwares. These softwares are required to authenticate your credentials. That is all about authentication. Then coming to authorization. What is authorization? What is authorization? And the secure testing, what is its role? So suppose if you are working in a very big organization, okay, they are using a SAP module, SAP okay, systems for their organization. You know, right? Big organization have so many departments: finance department, HR department, and then operations, and then marketing, and so on. So basically, you are from a finance department. Does the finance department has access to the okay marketing module, and vice versa? No, right? So finance department has only people who is working on finances has only access to the finance department, finance matter. Okay, that means we restrict the access, we control the access based on the role of the employee. That is all about authorization. Under secure testing, we basically check whether the person is really has a authorization. Okay, authorization to have an access to the module. That is all about a authorization testing. Then coming to encryption and decryption. What is encryption and decryption? Okay. whether the data has been properly encrypted or not, whether the data has been properly decrypted or not, that we check. Ideally, secure testing also we never do as a functional tester. Okay, people have a special knowledge on security, they do security testing. Okay, and then finally, okay, recovery testing. What is recovery testing? What is recovery testing? I will tell you one simple example. Okay, if you are working in a simple application, you don't find or you don't have any kind of recovery testing. But if you are working in a very complex systems, especially telecom domain, where there are multiple technologies are involved, multiple components are involved. For example, I have applied for a SIM card. Earlier days I'm talking about. Now it is very simple. Within 5-6 minutes they are going to authenticate it and giving it. Okay, earlier to issue a SIM card, there are multiple systems to validate it. First of all, they check whether the network is there or not in that particular region. Okay, do you have a proper equipment in place or not? Okay, is it a corporate connection or individual connection? Okay, to do all this validation, we have some 5 to 10 systems involved. 5 to 10 applications are talking about. System means just a unit and application. If there is a one application get crashed, okay, you can't basically, okay, what you called, complete the transaction. You can't really complete the transaction. Okay, anyway, that is very quite common in a complex technical applications where if the system is got failed, we should be in a position to recover the data. That is all about recovery testing. Here, the point here is as a tester, whether the application recovering in abnormal conditions or not. That is what you have to check under a recovery testing. Okay. Then coming to compatibility testing. So it is very simple. How compatible your application is on different operating system, hardware, and browsers. So where we check application compatibility with respect to the operating system, hardware compatibility, browser compatibility, and forward and backward compatibility. Okay, I think we know already what is operating system compatibility, hardware, and browser. That we know already, right? Operating system means whether your application is working on a particular operating system or not. Hardware means we check how compatible your application on hardware like what we call 4 GB RAM, 2 GB RAM, 1 GB RAM. Okay, they're actually hardware configurations. Okay, and then how your application is working on SSD and hard disk drive. Okay, system has a hard disk drive and so on. Okay. Browser compatibility also we are very able to find out how compatible your application on different browsers. What is backward and forward? What is backward and forward?
Page movement.
Yeah, okay. Backward and forward compatibility. I will tell you. See, the current version of Chrome browser is what is the current version of the Chrome browser? Just go and check about the Google Chrome. Here you can see 100. See, this is the current version of 100, but everybody is using the same version.
Okay, no.
No, and everybody is using the 64-bit machine. No.
No.
Some of the people still using 32-bit. That means you have to check okay, your application with respect to the various versions of the Chrome. We check 90, 80, 85, and 95, and 96, and then finally we reach 100. That is about backward compatibility. Backward. Especially we did it backward and forward compatibility for mobile applications. You know, right? Android, the current version is I think 11 or 12. Earlier days we do use we use Android 4, Android 5, Android 6, Android 7, okay, and so on. But how many people are using the latest version of Android? still more than 60% of the mobile users are still using Android 6 or Android 5 because they can't afford the latest, the new mobiles, right? Still, they are using older version of Android only. So how do you check it actually? You have to ensure your application is working on older version of the operating system. That's what all about a backward and forward compatibility. Okay, that's what all about the backward and forward compatibility. So this is all about testing tabs. We have installation testing. We check how easy to install the software. They have all the installation steps or not. All these things come under installation testing. Okay. So remaining testing tabs we'll see probably on Monday. Okay, sanitation testing, garbage testing, okay, various. Yeah, I think it's over. Then we'll discuss about this one. What is sanitation or garbage testing? What is this? Nothing actually. Sanitation or garbage testing is nothing. Whether the application is providing any additional features beyond the customer requirement. You know, right? A beta version. Okay, if you look at something called, if you install any software, they will say this is actually advanced version. Classic version is there. If you switch the mode to the latest version, you can find more options. Okay, if such kind of application needs to be tested, at that time we follow sanitation or garbage testing. Okay, where we check application is providing any additional or extra features beyond the customer requirements. Okay. And this is actually various technologies we use in application testing and development. We'll discuss probably in next class. These are various technologies we use. Yeah, we stop here for today. Just let me know if you have any questions.
Sir, are you going to share me the soft copy of document related to this manual testing or anything?
You want the material, right? You are telling material you can
Yeah.
find online. Manual testing is nothing here. Simply you can say, right? You can find a number of materials on Google, but I will share one material from our institute. Okay.
Yes.
Anything else? Okay. We'll wind up for today. That's not tomorrow. On Monday, we have session only on Monday. Saturday, Sunday, we don't have classes.
Okay.